Can anyone see this? Okay. Hi, everyone. I am Father Michael. I am filling in for the wizard as a Halloween kind of thing. So I don't know what things looked like on your end, but thank you so much for finding me. I was about ready to start breaking stuff here because Heather wasn't here, and I have never started a live stream by myself before. And anyway, at least a few people are here. So, yeah, so I think we have, can someone like write in the comments? I don't know how to put this. If you had difficulty finding this, or did you find this the way you normally do? Um, yeah, thanks, Anne, for that comment. On this end, I tried to schedule this live stream, and when it came 3 o'clock, the button that said go live was grayed out. And I think that it expected me to go through some streaming software, which I don't have. So that's why I pretty much abandoned that stream and started this new one on the fly um, spontaneously. So, you know what I think I'm going to do is I'm not going to make this an official live stream. I'm not going to save it. So let's just keep it short and have some fun. And Father Michael, me, will be back next week, hopefully with Heather, and we'll have a proper one. So, I do have some Bible trivia. Can you show me in the comments if you're interested in the trivia? Because if no one seems very interested, I can save that for next time. So let me see what you guys have to say here. I'm going to cancel the other one that's up. Well, I don't know. I don't even know if this is canceling it, but I'm just going to close the screen. Okay. Okay. I think that I'm going to save the trivia because I worked hard on some trivia questions here, Bible trivia, and I think I will hold off on asking those until next week. Okay, but for now, let's have some fun with this. Ask me if you have a confession, go ahead and ask it. Any moral questions, you need help about anything. And you can also ask me gambling questions because I know the wizard very well, and I think that I can address any gambling questions quite well. So let's see what you got here. Okay, so Paul Andrews asks, with slots being as complicated as they are these days, are there any concerns that developers can sneak cheats into the machine? So I'm not sure what you mean by cheats, but maybe you mean that maybe if the player presses a certain sequence of buttons, that the game can go into a very loose mode, perhaps allowing the player to win a jackpot. And this actually has been done before by a rogue employee. But I would say no, that the slot machines that you see here in Las Vegas, there are not very many makers of them. And all the makers are very big companies worth probably, tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. So I don't think they're going to risk their reputations by introducing anything that cheats in their games. And, it'd be highly illegal here in Nevada. And furthermore, before a game gets approved, the gaming control board looks at the code and takes a very solid look at the game. I'm not saying that it's impossible that a rogue employee might put out a game that can cheat, but no, I think that in general, gambling in Nevada and in the United States in general is really very safe and clean. Okay, let's go on here. Do I personally know any advantage playing video poker players in Vegas or in general? I can't think of a single advantage player who only plays video poker anymore. Certainly a lot of advantage players might play it a little bit if a good promotion comes along. But video poker is I don't want to say that it's dead, but it's on life support. And the only time that it's good is if there's some kind of a promotion. And some players will play negative video poker if in order to get in the good graces of the casino and hopefully get invited to tournaments and stuff like that. But straight up video poker is a thing. It is sadly has gone the way of the dodo bird. Okay. Next question. And, thanks for all your comments, by the way, about finding me. I'm glad some of you did. By the way, do you like my hair? Normally, the wizard keeps it in a ponytail, but I like to look like Jesus, so I let it out. Okay. Damien Heaven asks, good evening, Michael. It's actually the afternoon here in Las Vegas. I have a question about craps. As we know, a 7 or 11 on the come out roll is a winner. With that being the case, how is betting on the any 7 and horn 11 still a bad bet? How shall I put this? I analyze every bet individually. And if you analyze these bets individually, they're bad bets. Like I know that the any 7 has a house advantage of 16.7%. And it doesn't matter the reason you make it or the other bets that you make with it. It's still 16.67%. And some players incorrectly think that there's some magic combination of bets that will allow you to hedge the bad things and stuff like that. But no, there's no way to cheat the odds, and there's no magic mixture of bets that will eliminate or lower the house edge. So I hope that, I'm not sure I understood the question, but I hope that answers it. Okay. Vince Armenti. Hey, Vince, long time no see. Roll to win digital craps thoughts. I just saw that yesterday. So if I'm not mistaken, that's the form of craps where it's like a craps table and it has dealers, but players don't put their bets on the felt. They enter them on a keypad. So I have no brilliant thoughts about that, to be honest with you. I've never played it. I've just seen it. Okay. Techniques asks, is the strategy for double bonus video poker and double bonus video poker different? Is double bonus the best video poker. The strategies are different. Off the top of my head, I can't give a good example, but the kickers are with the 4 of a kinds are more important in double bonus. And I can say that, well, maybe I shouldn't say this, but the strategies for jacks are better and bonus poker are pretty similar. But between double bonus and double bonus, there are some significant differences. I think it's only going to cost, if forced to a number, maybe about 0.1% in expected value if you play the strategy of 1 on the other machine. So yeah, that's about as far as I can take that. Okay. Anne asks, blessings, Father Michael. Bless you too, my child. Is there any easy way to get access to what a casino's hold is on players' play other than having to ask the floor people directly? Yeah, no, it's pretty difficult. And the way I would phrase the question is you can ask the casino, how much do you show that I've won or lost in whatever period of time? And they don't like to answer that question, but it doesn't mean that they won't. They consider that kind of proprietary information, but sometimes players have a valid reason to ask. Like, I've played a lot of tournaments where if you lost in the first round, they had what I call a whale rule. And under that, if you have a $20,000 theoretical loss or whatever, then you automatically advance to the next round. So in that situation, you play like crazy to build up this theo, and you may have to ask them, have I hit the 20,000 yet? And they should tell you, because you have a valid reason for asking. So that's about as far as I can take that one. Is it better to play a slot with less lines or more lines? Mathematically speaking, that shouldn't make any difference. Somebody asks, Skill and Luck asks, have we ever checked out the 2 different craps channels? No, I haven't. Bowman Valentine asks, do casinos sell old table gear when they don't need it any longer, i.e. cards, dice, etc.? If not, do they sell novelty items where I can find them? Casinos don't directly sell them, however, to the public. However, usually what they do is a nice casino here, let's say that they want to sell some equipment, they will generally sell it to more economy casinos, like, I don't know, like the El Cortez, and they may put on their felt and refurbish things a little bit. And from there, they may get passed down to a casino in Mexico or Argentina. So there's a lot of hand-me-downs in the business. But as a player, there's a friend of mine who runs a store that sells used gaming equipment, and they have all kinds of stuff. They have everything from playing cards to full tables, and they have a big warehouse here in Las Vegas. I don't think they open it up to the public that much, but I'm sure that if you asked for an appointment and sounded serious about buying something, they would let you. So I don't remember the company name off the top of my head, but I will try to remember to have this information at hand for the next live stream, or you can always ask me through Wizard of Vegas or Wizard of Odds, and I will try to get that for you. Okay, let's see what we got here. Bet365 has a promotion where if an NFL team goes 17 points ahead, it is a moneyline winner, even if your team goes on to lose. Is there a player edge here? You know, that's a good question. In fact, I think I'll write that down. The way I might rephrase this is, how often does it happen that a team gets 17 points ahead and then loses? And in fact, didn't that happen with a Super Bowl? I think it was between the Eagles and the Patriots, where at halftime it was like 21-0 Eagles, and then the Patriots went on to win. So I know I've seen that happen in other games. Yeah, I certainly can't answer that off the top of my head. That would require a lot of work, but I have the data where I could answer that. So I think that I will make an Ask the Wizard question out of that. That is a good one. Thank you for the question. Okay, here we go. Here's another Dice Setters question. I don't talk about this with casino employees very much, but I think the attitude in the business is they don't believe in it. But they are kind of annoyed with players that take a long time to set the dice. I know that some of them have made the area under the felt. They have put those little I don't know what, like the squares, I think in an effort to make the table more bouncier and unpredictable. So maybe there is some belief in it. Yeah, basically I don't know. Here we go. I've recently heard that hotels in Vegas get the front entrance to play. Okay, so Damien Heaven asks, I've recently heard that hotels in Vegas get their slots at the front entrance to pay out more to get people into the casino. Is there any truth to this? No. Yeah, that's kind of a myth that casinos put their hot and their cold machines in particular areas. Usually the way the myth goes is that they put the loose machines in high traffic areas so the public can see people winning. However, I have done a study of this in 2001, and I find no correlation between the looseness of a game and its location. So, I can't say that, I can't speak for every single casino, but as a rule of thumb, my answer is no. Okay. Okay, Anne asks again, has there ever been a game that has been released in a casino where a casino later found the math to have a negative house edge and had to pull it? Yes. This is written about in one of Stanford Wong's books. And in fact, let me show you. Okay, I don't remember in which book he writes about this, but in one of Wong's Blackjack books, he writes about a game in Vegas called Yin Yang Yo. And one of the bets, I think it was the Yo bet, not to be confused with the Yo bet in craps, had a player advantage. I think that whoever designed the game just made a math error, and the advantage players figured it out and they killed it. As another example of such a mistake, there was a casino in Mississippi somewhere that in Sickbo, normally the bets on a total of 3 and a 7 pay 60 to 1, but they put in a table and they incorrectly paid 80 to 1. And at 80 to 1, there was a player advantage. In fact, I can tell you exactly. So let's see. So at 80 to 1, so let me think. 81. Yeah, there would have been a 12.5% player advantage. And what happened there is the members of Stanford Wong's Black Chip Forum were told this information, and advantage players from all over the country overnight flew to this casino in Biloxi. And when they opened the table at whatever time in the morning, it was surrounded by advantage players, and they were only betting on the 3 and the 17. And it didn't take them that long to realize something was fishy, and they closed it. But that's a good story. Wish I had been there. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Yeah. Okay. So Techniques asks about an alleged dice setter influencer named the Dominator. I've certainly, yes, I've absolutely heard of him. In fact, I think up on my shelf here, I think I have Scobletti's book about him, or at least partially about him. And how shall I put this? I don't want to say, all I'm saying on the record is that I'm very skeptical of dice influence. I'm not saying that nobody has made money doing it. Perhaps the people that made money doing it just got lucky. Perhaps even there are a few people that are good enough to do it. So I am not accusing the Dominator specifically of anything. If he ever wants to meet me, I would be more than happy to meet him, and he could demonstrate to me his ability. Um, um, but so I'm taking no position on him, um, because yes, I have read a lot about him, and I've seen him on a Travel Channel show or something like that. So I absolutely know that he claims to have been a successful dice influencer for many years and made a lot of money. Um, and I have no evidence other than basically his word that it's true, and I have no evidence that it's not true. So it's these one of these things that you're going to have to make your own decision on. So that's about as far as I can take that. Okay. So A Hung asks about Baccarat bet selection. As I've said many times, my advice in Baccarat is bet the player and the banker only. Stay away from the tie, the pairs, and any other side bet. And what should you bet between the banker and the player? Well, the banker is a little bit better house advantage, 1.23% compared to, did I say the banker is better? Yeah, the banker is a little bit better at 1.06% compared to the player at 1.24. But if it's boring for you to bet on the banker every single time, I'm not going to wag my finger of shame at you if you sometimes bet the player. You can go back and forth as you see fit and bet as much or as little as you wish according to you see fit. There is no magic betting system that's going to cut down the house advantage in Baccarat, other than a very, very elaborate card counting system using computers. So that's about as far as I can take that one. So Skill and Luck says, on your latest video with Heather, you never covered what table game mechanics that you like. I don't understand the question. Maybe you can rephrase it. Darren asks, are you still heavy into sports betting? Where is the best area in sports to look for a player edge? How would you do so? No, I am not a very active sports bettor anymore. I have never been a handicapper. I've always liked the exotic bets, prop bets, half point parlay cards, stuff like that. And in fact, let me get another book for you that I really recommend on this topic. Fortunately, it was right here. This book is 2020 Sports Betting by Logan Fields. This guy has exactly the kind of philosophy that I do about not trying to beat sports by handicapping, but by exploiting exotic bets. And now, one downside to this book is all the plays that he talks about. At least I think all of them are no good anymore. But he teaches you about how to look for exotic stuff and how to analyze them. And I think that if you want to pursue sports betting, I really highly recommend reading this book. It's not going to be a golden road to making money, but nothing ever is. But this will teach you the way I thought about beating sports betting. Why don't I do it anymore? It's the advantages that I'm perceiving are just so small that it's just not worth my trouble. Okay, let's move on. So Anne asks about a YouTuber called Mr. Beast. No, I'm afraid I have not heard of him. So Blia Yang asks, how prevalent are advantage playing blackjack players still? It's not that prevalent, but there are some. A great thing about for blackjack players with the coronavirus is with the masks, it's much harder to get identified. So they are happy as clams right now. So I think that this is a good time to be a card counter while everyone is still wearing masks. Nevertheless, it's still tough. I of all the advantage players I know, I think only one of them is mainly focused on card counting, and he says that he's been doing really well with it during the pandemic. So let's move on. What is your favorite candy? What's the best candy to give away for Halloween? Well, what just like off the shelf candy do I like? I really like Reese's peanut butter cups, and second place would be peanut M&Ms. So there's something about like I guess like the saltiness of peanut butter or peanuts and the sweetness of chocolate that I like that yin and yang of sour and sweet. And what can I say? I like what I like. What's the best kind to buy? Mrs. Wizard always buys the big bags of candy, and like the mixture of stuff, and that you can get at Costco. They're easy to find, and so I just will throw a bunch of it in a one of those pumpkin buckets, and just give each kid a handful. But I give a bigger handful to the kids that have good costumes. So that's my answer to that one. Good question. Esports betting is one of the best areas right now for plus EV odds, as many bookmakers are not up to speed on handicapping. Not that was a question, but I have no comment on that. I don't know much about it. Okay, I'm going to try to focus on statements that end in a question mark. Okay, Skill and Luck asks, you spoke of telling inventors of what things you don't like about their games. What have you run across in their games that you like? Well, so I believe in the last show, I spoke a lot about mistakes that game inventors make with their games. So I could talk about this one all day, but really quickly, the successful games in the market are ones that take an existing game and just tweak it a little bit. For example, Blackjack Switch. What's the one with the pot of gold? Free Bet Blackjack, Spanish 21, and also the many poker derivatives like Ultimate Texas Hold'em, things like that. Things that are based on blackjack or poker, and but are not completely out of left field, have the best chance of being a success. And so that's my advice there, is to keep it simple and base a game on something players already get, but try to improve it or make it a little bit more fun somehow. And that's easier said than done. Okay. Okay, I Love 2000 asks, if you are an advantage player at blackjack, would you do 3 hands at +5? When I was a more active card counter, I like to just stick to one hand, and I just varied the bet up and down. But that's completely up to you. There's no right or wrong answer on that one, and every counter has his own style and way of doing things. Okay. Okay. Darren asks, do you still play blackjack leisurely? Short answer is no. The only way I might play blackjack is maybe I have a friend or relative from out of town and they really want to play. Then I might play with them. And how much would I be betting? I might be betting only like $15 a hand, um, and just playing basic strategy. Most likely. Sometimes I can't help myself and count a little bit, but I try to stay in friendly relationships with these casinos. So if I was counting, I would do it very non-aggressively. Okay. Swiss Frank asks, do I still bet on the Oscars? No. Short answer there is no. I used to like betting on Pinnacle because they had very low juice, but they closed to U.S. players. And then I bet at Bodog, which had much higher juice, but I still bet it. But I got really discouraged when Crash beat out Brokeback Mountain for Best Picture because Brokeback Mountain was a big favorite. I laid like 10-1 odds on that, and so that caused just one losing bet that year caused me to have that whole Oscars to be a loser. So my strategy, as you may know, is it was my opinion at the time that the winners are known in advance, and just betting the favorites was easy money. But like I said, there was an upset in that one, and I think that there was another upset in one of the minor categories in another year. I don't remember the details, but I have become discouraged with that, and not only do I not do it anymore, but I don't even know that I have an out where I could bet them anymore. And so there's my short answer to that one. Okay, what do we do? Okay, Darren asked about Shoeless Joe. So I'll try to be quick here. Shoeless Joe is the term used for a person who wandered into the treasure island with no shoes, and as the story goes, a $400 Social Security check, which he cashed, and he parlayed this $400 into 1.6 million, and then lost it all. And along the way, he never tipped and was extremely rude to the dealers, yada yada yada. So I think 2 days ago, I published a second article on Shoeless Joe where I tell the story according to 3 sources I have that worked at the Treasure Island at the time and can absolutely vouch that it's true. And they told me some details that either are not in most of the stories or contradict some of the stories. So please go to Wizard of Vegas and look for my article. I think it's titled just The Story of Shoeless Joe. Not to be confused with my first article that was titled, Can a homeless man walk into a casino and turn $400 into $1.6 million? I wrote a much better article on that I'm pretty proud of, and that's at Wizard of Vegas too. So please look for those. Okay, enough about Shoeless Joe. Okay, so Mo the Cat asks if I have been to Colin Jones' website, Blackjack Apprenticeship. It looks like he's still playing for an advantage. I haven't been there in a long time. I interviewed him when I used to co-host Gambling with an Edge. I really like the guy. If I were card counting, I would probably be a member of his forum. And I absolutely, if he says that he's still counting, I would absolutely believe it. And I'm not saying that blackjack is so bad that it can't be beaten anymore. No, it absolutely can. I think for most advantage players, they see better stuff out there. But some people just like counting. Some people, they're really good at it. Whatever. But I absolutely. Even though I haven't seen it not in a long time, I like Colin, and I would endorse his website, Blackjack Apprenticeship. Okay. So Blia Yang asks, are there other advantage players in gaming besides video poker and blackjack that you know of? Practically all of them are not blackjack and video poker players. A lot of them are advantage slot players. And I've spoke about this on other live streams, but there's a lot of slot machines that have a player advantage sometimes. And they're what I call multi-state games, where the odds of one game affect, or shall we say, the state the game is left in by the last bet affects the next bet. And Ocean Magic is a good example, where there can be these wild bubbles that stay on the screen for 3 or 4 spins. And if you find a machine that has a lot of bubbles on the left side of the screen, that's going to be a positive expectation until those bubbles float off to the top of the screen. And so there's a lot of machines like this, and it's you just have to know what they are, know when they're in a positive state, know when they're not, and this is a lot of legwork, just trolling around the casinos looking to vulture these games. And there's a lot of advantage players that are into beating promotions. A lot of promotions are beatable. There's a lot of opportunities online right now with internet casinos and sports betting. Sports betting is becoming really popular in other states, and a lot of them are having really good promotions to get new players, especially with free bet promotions. So I'll stop there, but just say I would look carefully at those. Anything that offers a free bet or free money is probably a good deal. So let's move on. So I see a lot of good comments here. So Skank Hunt recommends that I add like the feature where people can tip me. I know Heather does that on her own live streams. She does them by herself as well as helps me. And I'll think about it. I enjoy giving out information for free. I don't want it to look like I'm shaking people down. But I'll think about it. Thanks for the idea. ST says you can, some blackjack side bets are countable. Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of the blackjack side bets are countable, and there's special count systems for them. So that's another thing I could talk all day about. But Elliot Jacobson has done some good stuff on that, and not just blackjack side bets, but Baccarat too, like how to count the Dragon 7 and the Panda 8. So if you do a search on Elliot Jacobson, I think you can find his stuff at 888.com. That casino bought all his material, but he has some really good stuff on that, and so do I. I have articles on how to beat the Panda 8 and Dragon 7 too, because I also analyze those. And I pretty much mimic what Elliot says on that, but he's done more of it than me. Okay. Okay, so Darren says, wasn't there someone who caught a glitch in one of those video poker machines and made a lot of money before getting caught? Yes. Okay, I think you're referring to what was that guy's name? Oh, it's driving me crazy. It's on the tip of my tongue. Okay, there was somebody who worked for the gaming control board. Maybe someone in the comments can remind me his name. And he was one of these people that tested the games before they got permitted. And he added some code to, I think it was a slot machine. And the code said that, okay, if a player starts with a 3-unit bet, and then 1, and then 2, and then 5, and then 4, and 3, and there was this big long sequence of bets, and each one different, and that if the player makes the sequence of bets, that the very next bet that he makes, that he would hit the jackpot. And he did this, and he was successful for a while, but he got caught, and I don't remember how they caught him, but but he did. And he later did another cheating thing with Keno that I won't get into. And it's driving me crazy. I can't remember this guy's name. Yeah, maybe it'll come back to me. Anne asks, do I have a favorite superhero? And if so, who is it? I think you know the answer to that one. That one would be Wonder Woman, of course. Okay. ST asks, could you talk a little about how you derive the odds for a table game? This is another one I could talk all day about, but most of the time I will write let's say that it's 3-card poker, to make a simple example. The way I would analyze that is with a looping program. First, I'm going to loop through all the 22,100 ways the player can get 3 cards out of 52. And then I'm going to loop through all the 18,424 ways the dealer can get 3 cards out of the 49 left in the deck. And I'm going to analyze how much is the player going to expect to win if he raises. And if that number is more than -1, then I will have the player raise. If it's less than -1, then I'll have the player fold. And then it just keeps a count of all the possible outcomes through all 22,100 player hands, and shows me once it's done with all this looping. And yeah, so that's a pretty simple example. It can get more complicated. Like Blackjack is a pretty complicated game to analyze because there isn't just one decision. You have to use a recursive program that keeps taking you back to the same decision point with a new hand. But yeah, I can analyze almost any casino game with just the very basics that you would learn in an introductory computer programming class, just the basic loops and functions and arrays and maybe pointers. But that doesn't mean that it's easy to do. You blow it on just one line of computer code, and you can get a wrong answer. And if you and that can cause somebody to lose a lot of money. If I put out bad information on the website, it will cost you guys money. If I'm doing it as a consultant, it'll cost them money if the game is not if the game has a house advantage that is higher or lower than whatever I said. So it's something that you have to be, it's like a surgeon, you have to be exactly right when you write these things. And just putting two symbols in the wrong order can make the program work, but give you a wrong answer. So there's my short answer to that one. Darren asks, do you still unicycle and juggle? Absolutely. I unicycle almost every day unless I'm out of town. And I usually do 3 laps around my neighborhood, which would be 4.5 miles. I did that today. Juggling, not so much. I wish I had a partner to pass with, but I don't get as much exercise from juggling, so I don't do that as much. Ron Harris, thank you very much. That is the guy I was talking about that wrote in that cheating code into a slot machine. So Anne asks again, any suggestions on a good way to improve my math skills other than from basic textbooks? The way I keep my math skills sharp is just by answering puzzles. And there's a lot of I subscribe to a lot of math-based YouTube channels, and the way they work is they will pose a problem at the beginning, and then let's say pause the video and work it out, and then I do it, and then I see if I agree with their answer. Like a one that I really like is called Mind Your Decisions, and so that's a way for me to keep the skills that I already know sharp. But if you're trying to learn new skills, like let's say you want to learn calculus and you've never even touched it before, yeah, there I would probably get a book. I know you can, or maybe take an online class. I don't really know. It's kind of up to you how you learn best. But I like learning through doing. I found that the way math was taught in high school and college, I don't think that it was suited to me very well. I feel that I teach myself better than other people can teach me. So um, yeah, so I love it when I see a question posed to me and I work it out on my own. And if I can't solve it, then there's an answer right there and a solution, so I can see how it can be solved. That's just my style. Um, so can Spanish 21 be beaten by card counting? Absolutely, and I have yet another book about that. So this is the Pro's Guide to Spanish 21 and Australian Pontoon, which is what they call Spanish 21 in Australia. And this has a card counting system. In fact, I just saw it here. That is specially designed for Spanish 21. Well, anyway, it's in here somewhere. So yeah, if you want to card count Spanish 21, this is probably the only source on that topic. And I think counting the blackjack derivatives is a really good idea, because I don't think that they get watched as carefully as plain old blackjack. So you can probably get away with more. So I have to go promptly at 4 o'clock, guys. So I really thank you all for showing up. May the Lord bless you and keep you. And Heather and I plan to be together again in exactly 1 week on October 28th. And we I, as Father Michael, will be back, and we will try to do it the way we normally do. So I apologize that Heather couldn't make it today, and I apologize for all the confusion with finding me. And so thank you for your patience. And we will do some Bible trivia next time. And I see somebody asked who's the author. Katerina Walker is the author of this book. She was a good friend of mine. And so let me get out of here. Again, thanks for showing up, and I'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.